Alright guys, welcome back to another video here. I am sitting in the beautiful location here this morning. I'm sitting poolside. I'm actually going to be heading back to the United States tomorrow afternoon, sadly. Yeah, sadly. And I need to get ready to try to look for my next assignment. Continue working, you know. But anyway, I thought this is a marine channel predominantly, so we should maybe say a few words about what happened or at least mention the incident in Baltimore, Maryland. Like I said, this is a marine topic channel, so I don't know every detail. None of us do. I watch the news every morning about it, try to learn more about it. I know the NTSB. I saw this morning a 25-minute video. They're doing investigations like they always would for any situation like this. And they're going to find out everything, more what happened. There's the recorders on the bridge. That's where the people navigate and steer the ship, obviously, for those that don't know. And in the engine room, the computers record every alarm. There's a recording printout of every alarm that goes off. So it's something that they can use in the investigation to really see what happened. But just a little bit about it, the area, for those of you that don't know, it's really different for me. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. When I learned how to drive, my father took me on 695, which is the highway that goes around the city of Baltimore. They call it the Beltway. In USA, they call it a Beltway. 695. And he figured, wow, that's a great place just to go get some practice. My dad put me on the highway. And we ran around the whole city of Baltimore a couple times just to get familiar with driving on the highway. And I went over that bridge when I was learning how to drive. And a million times, after that. So this is a bridge that I've driven many, many times, extremely familiar with in Baltimore, Maryland. And I believe the bridge was, and again, I don't know every statistic, but I believe it was around 50 to 55 feet tall. And the water was probably 40 to 50 feet deep there. And a lot of these ships, container ships nowadays, have a pretty good draft. So I'm sure there wasn't a whole lot of, distance under the ship. Not that that matters. But there's a lot of factors when you see things like this. If you lose power, you might think, why doesn't the ship just drift straight in the direction that it was going, which should be the correct direction? Well, you have currents. There's a lot of these ports, in and out of ports. You have heavy currents. Now, people who are mates, captains, would know more about this than I do, but I know there's very strong currents. One example, I jumped in a river one time and swam the Mississippi River, and different rivers around the world I've swam in, and it looks peaceful, tranquil. You jump in, big current. I swam in the Red Sea before. You look at that, it looks very peaceful. It had a huge heavy current. So ships are under these, and the ship is a large thing inside the water, so there's more surface to be manipulated by a current, So now what we all probably saw by now is, I saw as the ship is approaching that bridge, you saw the power. The lights went off. All the lights on deck. When you're leaving port, entering port, generally your lights are on. When you get out to sea on the ships, everything goes dark. You have a couple, navigational lights that are on the bridge, the bow, maybe one on the stern. But all your deck lights will be off at sea. But leaving the port, they were all on. You could clearly see that. And then it went dark. So obviously, like they're saying now, the ship obviously lost power. Why? I don't know. We'll see. We'll wait for the NTSB reports to come out, and hopefully we'll see more details what happened. Now, this ship was also involved in an incident back in 2016. I found out in Belgium. I don't know if it hit the dock or something, but there was some damage. So there's going to be a lot of questions that need to be asked. Now, when this first happened, I see another thing to address. Always people nowadays, and maybe rightfully so, think, oh, is it an act of terrorism? Right away I thought, no, heck no. Not that it couldn't happen, but there's pilots that specialize You guys, you hear things on the news, but I'm trying to give a little more into it. The pilots, which they mentioned were on the ship, I think 2 pilots. When you enter and leave ports, these are people who are specializing in those waterways. They know the currents. They're specializing in that waterway, that entrance to a port, and they're on board with you. So there was 2 pilots, I believe, and they're gonna do their best to make sure everything's right. Obviously, the captain, um, the engine department operating down below. So yeah, I just don't see like that happening with the normal crew and pilots who get paid a lot of money. Yeah, but anyway, so we saw the lights went out, and I believe the ship was going about 8 miles an hour. You can only go so fast. So that's a very slow speed. So you factor in you have a current, you're going very slow. So even if for a short time you lose power, generally what happens on a ship, this is just a little more information. Say you lose power, you lose your power. There's an emergency generator. It's not a very big engine. It's an emergency generator. It's a room you can walk into. It's not huge, but it'll power up automatically once the main power is lost. And then it supplies electrical bus board, which supplies power to essential things you need, operational things, and a small amount of lighting, for safety. When you walk around ships, you'll see that some lights, they have a little E on them. Those are the ones that are powered off the emergency bus board. Now, say you have 2 steering gear motors. A lot of times ships alternate every other day. They'll switch motors, evenly use them. One of them will be powered off of that emergency bus. So once that emergency generator starts up, you'll have power to that steering gear motor. And like I said, essential things that you need to operate on the ship will get power until the main power is restored. But if you're going really, really slow, obviously the water that travels over the rudder is going very slow, which means the effect of the rudder is obviously going to be less, and then you factor in the current. So things can go wrong really, really fast. I saw black smoke coming out of the stack. Somebody commented about that the other day, saying that there was a problem with the engine or something. But to me, that looks like, I wasn't there, but that looks like to me like they were trying to start their engine. You see a puff of smoke coming out, or black smoke coming out. That's not complete combustion. Things are starting. They're not running, yet. So maybe they were trying to get started up again. A lot of things happened. I believe the pilot said to drop the port anchor. There was an anchor obviously dropped. And I'm sure they were notifying really quickly, shutting down the road. All these things were happening quickly. And the sad thing is that the bridge obviously didn't have the redundancy like they say a lot of these modern bridges have, where you hit one area, you don't destroy the whole bridge. But this bridge wasn't built that way. One part went and then the rest of it went. The bridge was built in the late 70s. And like I say, this is a huge transportation nightmare for Baltimore. It was built, I believe, to alleviate a lot of traffic, and that was many, many years ago. So a lot of people are going to have to reroute, longer commutes. And another big issue is people don't think about the port. Imagine all these workers in the port, the Dundalk Seagirt, the Dundalk Grain Terminal. All these workers, there's no ships able to go in and out right now. This port, I believe, has more auto and farm equipment coming and going than any port in the United States, I believe. And then I think they said about $8 billion last year of foreign cargo. This is a really busy port, So there's far more impact than just the ship hit or a bridge hit. And then the bridge to rebuild, I believe it took 5 years to build, give or take, this bridge. So, not only do you have to rebuild it, Joe Biden yesterday was saying that they want to make sure it gets paid for, and get it, it needs to be taken care of as quickly as possible, yet as safely as possible. So I don't know how long that's going to be, but it's not going to happen in a week or a month. So, and obviously the bridge is sitting in the water, it has to be removed. Ships need to get in and out. So this is a lot deeper than just a ship hit and broke a bridge. There's a whole lot of things that are, ripple down effect problems, and especially for the people who are not able to work because of this. Think of all the truck drivers, all the people working in the port. I mean, tons of jobs, thousands of jobs, and cargo they can't get where it needs to do. There's ships that are anchoring out now in Baltimore, and that number is probably going to increase. And then I've anchored out many times for ports, and you sit there and you wonder, well, when are we going to go? When are we going to go? You guys might remember my video about a year ago in Mexico. We sat out there 17 days. Like, when are we going to go in port? So, but anyway, yeah, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, guys. It was in Baltimore City, where I grew up. That was my hometown. That's why I wanted to say a little bit about it. I grew up here. I drove this bridge many times. Very familiar with it. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. That's my hometown. And I really want to send out my deepest thoughts and prayers to people who were injured, died in this terrible incident. That's, number one important, the loss of life. And, I think 30,000 cars daily travel over this bridge. I believe millions a year. I can't remember the number. I think 11 million a year, at least, I believe. Don't quote me on that number, but millions. And 30,000 cars on average a day. I can only imagine if this would have happened at noontime, the loss of life would have been so huge compared to this. That's the only good thing out of it, that minimized the loss of life, which is the number one tragic thing of this all. Bridges can be built, ships can be repaired, but a loss of a human life, that's the tragedy. But so my heart goes out to everybody who lost a family member. And so anyway, guys, but yeah, this bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, was named after, obviously, Francis Scott Key. If anyone doesn't know, or you're watching another country, Francis Scott Key is the gentleman who wrote our national anthem here in the United States, the Star Spangled Banner. And it was written, words that were inspired by the damage he saw just the night before on Fort McHenry, the siege on Fort McHenry, the destruction of that fort. But the flag was held up. People died, and then another man would hold that flag up. They did not let that flag fall. And the next morning he saw the destruction, but the flag was still waving up in the sky. And it was believed that he was within, I heard, maybe 100 yards or 100 meters maximum of where this bridge sits today, when he saw that and wrote the national anthem. So that bridge was named after him in his honor. Anyway, guys, this is just my little insight. We're going to learn more of the NTSB investigation. I'm going to be following it. I hope any of you guys that might know something more information, please put it in the comment section. It'd be great. I can have a conversation down there. I always check the comments every day. And any more information, please, or links. If you guys have a link to your channel and you're posting information about this, please drop a link anytime on my channel to your channel. No problem. Love to hear more about it. Collectively, we'll try to learn more about it, and we'll follow the news, the NTSB reports, Coast Guard reports. And guys, thanks for tuning in for this short video. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day here in Brazil. Tomorrow I head back to the States, and shortly I'll be heading back to my next job assignment. I don't know what it will be yet. But as always, I will post a update video when I get my next assignment and let you guys know where I'm going, what ship I'm going, where I'm going to be. And we'll do that soon. So anyway, guys, I will talk to you on the next video. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help on YouTube. And please subscribe to the channel. If you watch this channel, please subscribe, because that greatly helps YouTube to, put your videos out more. So anyway, guys, have a great day wherever you are. Great afternoon, great evening, and I will see you guys real soon.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not